Good morning. Welcome to today's lecture. Our course remains BDT 152, Basic Dispensing Theory 1, and we are still on suppositories and what? Phasery. It does you know. I collect you missing your Ute. Ute? Ute? Chan. Now we are talking about yesterday about the specifications for what? Suppository what? Basis. And we treated what and what? What and what did we treat yesterday under this heading? Original what? Then after that, what next? Metal range. What next? Solid what? Okay. Now after that, what next? Then hydroxy what? Value. Now we'll continue from there. Next, I want us to talk about is saponification value from the organic chemistry. Can someone tell me what saponification means? How? Explain how. Chemically, how? Production of soap is a layman's definition. True of us? Yes. Explain it as a chemist, as a pharmacy technician. What happens in that process? Just as we have, what you just defined now, just as someone asking you, what is neutralization? It's not, neutralization is the production of salt. It's not true. Is that a standard definition of a chemist by a chemist? That's a layman's what? So that's to define. If you are asked, we are speaking. Are you aware that as a pharmacy technician or pharmacy technician student, you also pharmacists are chemists? Are you aware? By training, are you aware? So you also share a part of this, because pharmacy, the bulk of the things you are doing in pharmacy is chemistry. The greater percentage is what? Chemistry, followed by a bit of, followed by biology. If you break it down to basic sciences, chemistry, mainly chemistry, greater percentage is chemistry, followed by biology, then physics, then mathematics. But majority is what? Chemistry. So, okay, with fat, okay, that is saponification. Am I communicating? Now, some people are lost. I'm sorry. This is the organic chemistry SS3. True or false? True or false? It's true. Organic chemistry SS3. And it's organic chemistry 2 for those that use new chemistry. Yeah? Those that use new chemistry. Is an organic chemistry 2, right? Yes. Some people are lost. I'm sorry. Now let's continue. Saponification value. Now, what is saponification value of a suppository base? Is the amount in milligrams. Is the amount in milligrams. Is the amount in milligrams of potassium hydroxide, which is alkaline, right? Yes. Good. Is the amount in milligrams of potassium hydroxide required to neutralize the free fatty acid? Required to neutralize the free fatty acid and saponify the ester contained in 1 gram of a fat. Is the number or simply the amount in milligram of potassium hydroxide, you can just use the symbol. The amount in milligrams of potassium hydroxide required to neutralize the free fatty acids and saponify the ester contained in 1 gram of a fat. Is the amount in milligram of potassium hydroxide. I like your handwriting. Say thank you. Is the amount in milligram of potassium hydroxide required to do what? Neutralize the free fatty acids and saponify the ester contained in 1 gram of the fat. So, what do we intend to achieve determining the saponification of value of a what? Suppository base. What do we intend to achieve? Why do we check it? Now, from saponification value, we can actually determine the type of glyceride, the type and the amount of glyceride present in a what? In a suppository what? Base. The saponification value helps us to determine the type and what? And the amount of glyceride that is present in a what? Suppository base. By type, whether it is mono, di, or what? Triglyceride. You know we have monoglyceride, diglyceride, and what? Triglyceride. So we want to know the type of glyceride present, and at the same time, the what? The amount that is present therein. So that's what we want to find out. These things are what to determine, help you to actually determine what and what, the type of drug you use to do what? Formulate. Am I getting the condition, all those things. Storage, a lot of things is all encompassing. So this is what this will help us to do what? Determine. We will not start going deep into that. That is beyond your what? Scope. But at least you should know, have an idea of what you use it to do what? Why we are looking for what? The saponification what? Value. Remember, it's not any amount of fat. How many grams of fat? 1 gram. Good. Now, number 7 is what? Iodine value. Iodine value. Iodine value. What is iodine value of a suppository base? Now, iodine value of a suppository base is the amount in grams, not milligram now, right? Amount in what? Grams of iodine is the amount in grams of iodine that reacts with 100 grams of fat or other unsaturated what? Material. Is the amount in gram of iodine that reacts with 100 grams of fat or other unsaturated material. Your BT 152 exam is 100 OBJ questions, 100 multiple choice questions. No essay. You don't have any essay for me. 100 multiple choice questions mixed up. Am I getting 100? You have no business with essay. Then you are 152. Now let's continue. What is rancidity? Have you heard of the term rancidity? Rancidity. Someone should look it up. Fast. Someone should look it up. Rancidity. We say something new now. They didn't hear what we say. So someone should check up rancidity. Fast. Rancidity. When a fat has become rancid, what does it mean? Check it or fast. When what? Who has seen it? Huh? When it was? Area, meaning what? What does area mean? Area, what area? Can someone give us a comprehensive definition, please? Just check rancidity. What is just check rancidity fast? Rancidity. Fast. Well, what causes that spoiling? That's what I want to. That's where what concerns you as a chemist. Hope you know. Am I forgetting? Yes, you should know what causes it. That's. These are things. If you are given if you are asked a question to define something, don't forget the area you are in. As a former technician, as I think what is rancidity, the spoilage of. It doesn't make sense now. You should be able to tell me what happened. Why? Start from what happened. Of what? Then you cannot talk about after that what it now results in what? Spoilage. You now start talking about that thing. But you must include that core, this thing that defines who you are. You talk about what? Oxidation and hydrolysis of what? This is why two people will write the semester. 90, 10. These are the causes. This is one of the causes. From where? We are coming from. I come by this time. You come from hostel. Go and sleep in hostel. Go back. Go there and rest well. Go and rest. Go and rest in the hostel. I would have pardoned you if you are coming from outside, but you are from hostel here. Go and sleep. Continue sleeping. Disappear from here. Go and sleep. Be going. Now let's continue. What is it? Okay. Please leave this place. Go back to the hostel. Okay? Someone said mention that yes, oxidation and hydrolysis. That's why I was trying to talk. I was trying to let you for you to define to talk about area. It's not. This is the definition, right? Is it the spelling? Find out what is area. Area has to do with what? Not area. Even I'll go to the hostel. Yeah, ask. And if you, what is oxidation in the first place? Addition of oxygen. Of course, now it can if you too expose it to moisture. Hope you know that when you say area when it's exposed to moisture, air and moisture. Am I communicating? Yes, it will other reaction will take place. Expose it to something else. It becomes, in fact, a lot of things will start. Chemical changes will start going on in this thing. It forms different things altogether. That's why you say that the fat has become rancid. That the fat has become what? Rancid. Do you know why I allowed you? Do you know why I allowed you? I think you came here by 8 in 50 years ago. You know, I cannot wait. Now, let's continue. So let's continue. I talk about it because I want to mention it here. Now listen. why we check the iodine value is because if a suppository base has a very high iodine value, I don't want to take us deep into it, but just understand it this way, that if it has a very high iodine value, what it means is this: there's high possibility of that base becoming rancid easily. Am I communicating? There's high possibility of the base becoming what? Rancid what? Easily. That is, there has the tendency that this particular suppository, if you use it to produce a suppository, the suppository can easily be spoiled by moisture, acid, or what? Air, oxygen. Am I communicating? Moisture, these are factors that can lead to rancidity, not only moisture and what? Acid can also cause what? Rancidity. Am I communicating? So that means the suppository, the base you want to use for suppository should have a low what? Iodine what? Value. So high iodine value can lead to what? Rancidity of the what? Suppository you produce with what? You know that I told you that the base you are going to use will determine the consistency of the what? Of suppository. So if you use a fatty base that has a very high iodine value, the implication is that after producing the suppository, it can easily become rancid. Any small thing, it can go rancid. Am I communicating? That's the meaning. So that's why you specify the iodine value of the what? This base you are doing what? Using. That's why we check the what? Iodine what? Value. So the possibility of decomposition by moisture, acid, oxygen, which leads to what? Rancidity of fats, increases with higher what? Iodine what? Value. So what it means is that if the iodine value is high, it can easily what? Go rancid without much stress. That's the meaning. After you transform it, that's just the recording, okay? Now, next one we want to talk about is what? Water number. By the time we start discussing other things, now you start on appreciating these things as we've been explaining all these specifications, but we're mentioning them and possibly giving the value for each of them when you start talking about the ideal properties of an ideal what? Suppository. You start suppository base, you start hearing all these things, how they come together to help us make an informed what? Decision on which suppository base to use. Now, water number. Water number. Are we together? Are we really together? So let's get together if we are not. Let's do what? Get together if we are not. Okay. Now, water number. What is water number? Water number is the amount of water in grams. Water number is the amount of water in grams that can be incorporated in 100 grams of what? Fat. Water number is the amount of water. Eguzo has a computer brain. She's not putting down anything, and she's not recording anything. Okay, she's writing for you. Yes. Wow. Nice one. Now let's continue. If I were you, I'll be recording so that at the end I'll marry what she's writing and what's recording. Now let's continue. Now, water number in a message of paper. Did I permit you? Are you sure? Una mona dan wa be ha. What? Una moro. Aya wadan wa. Aya wadan wa. We are for the same town. The same place. Let's continue. Now, water number is the amount of water in grams that can be incorporated in what? 100 grams of fat. Now, we can increase water number of a suppository by doing what? Adding what? Surface active agent. What's another name for surface active agent? Surfactant. There. We can increase water. This is a very important point. We can increase water number of a suppository base by adding what? Surfactant. Am I communicating? Now, why do we determine the water, the water number? We determine the water number to help us know the amount of water that can be incorporated in a suppository what? Base. That is the amount of water that it can actually hold without causing any what? Problem. Am I communicating? Remember that when we are discussing rancidity, we said that moisture can cause what? That moisture can cause what? Acid, right? We mentioned acid. What again? Oxygen and what? Water, right? Now, that means the same water that can cause rancidity, they are telling you now that you also incorporate it in the base. So that means we need to be able to determine the capacity of the base, the amount of the water that can be incorporated without causing any what? Issue. Is it clear? So that's why you determine the what? Water number. But in case you want to increase water number of a suppository base, you do what? You can add what? Surfactant. And it will still be okay. Is it clear? That's the point. That's why we determine what? Water number of a what? Base. Are we together? Now, remember what to define as water number as the amount in grams of water, in grams that can be incorporated in 100 what? Grams of fat. Now, the last but not the least, acid what? Value. Now, what is acid value? They will also determine the acid value of a base before they can. When you want to get a base, maybe buy the base or whatever. You buy this ingredients. Hope you know. These are things you look at. These are things that they will check out. They would have those that manufacture those things. These are things they would have checked. And you know that this is what it is for you. It will help you to make a decision on whatever you are doing with that what? Base. Now, what is acid value? Do you know why we are talking about base? When you talk of suppository, talk of ointment, the base is very important. Because if you mess up with the base, the entire dosage form is what? Nonsense. So that's why for the past 2 lectures that we've been talking about what? Base. Now, acid value. Then what is acid value of a suppository base? Acid value is the amount of potassium hydroxide in milligram. This time around is in what? Milligram. Is the amount of potassium hydroxide in milligram, or the amount in milligram of what? Potassium hydroxide required to neutralize free fatty acids in 1 gram of what? Fat. Is the amount of potassium hydroxide, a milligram of potassium hydroxide required to neutralize the free fatty acids in 1 gram of what? Fat. Is the amount in milligrams of potassium hydroxide required to neutralize 1 gram, the free fatty acids in 1 gram of what? Fat. Now, one thing about this acid number, in fact, it's even advisable that, if possible, a suppositive base should not have any acid value. A good suppositive base should not even, or possible, one acid value at all, or at least very low what acid value. You know that water is milder, right? Are you aware? Milder, right? To compare with acid. Well, what do you think acid can do? What can acid cause to suppositive base? Acidity. So the rate at which it will cause it. Remember, we said that water value should be what? Should be high or low? Low, right? Yeah, water is milder, right? But acid value, if possible, only possible, to avoid what? Issues. Because you can't predict what will happen. Are we together? You can't predict what will happen to the what? So only possible, but at least let it be very, very what? Low. So for a good suppositive basis, low acid value or absence of what? Acid value is important for what? Good suppository basis. Low acid value or no acid value at all is important for what? Good suppository what? Basis. Now, a very important aspect of this topic is the properties of an ideal suppository what? Base. Properties of an ideal suppository what? Base. Properties of an ideal suppository what? Base. Now let's go. Number 1. An ideal suppository base should be able to melt at rectal what? Temperature of about what? Or dissolve in rectal fluid. True or false? Now let me ask. Which of the, even though we have not discussed parts of suppository base, but we'll be mentioning it throughout our lecture, which of them do you think should melt? And which one do you think should dissolve? So the fatty one should do what? The liquid one should do what? Good. In rectal what? Fluid. So that's you should be able to do what? Without any long story, you should be able to do what? Melt at rectal temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. Or what? Dissolve in rectal. And I can also dissolve. Give a measure. Drug will not do what? Come out. Hurry up. Oya bugidi ani ike agwe oje yunsi onye Onobria. Onye someone that they started suppository at the rate 8 2. You wait for days, the thing did not dissolve or melt. Because the base refuses to dissolve or melt. The drug will not come out, right? The person wants to go and poop. What will happen? Everything will pour. It's a waste. True or false? So that means the suppository base should be able to do what? Melt. Once it gets to rectal temperature, it should melt if it's supposed to melt, or if it gets in contact with rectal fluid, it should dissolve if it's meant to do what? Dissolve. Or even disperse if it's meant to do what? Disperse, because we have fatty base, hydrophilic base, and water dispersible what? Base. Now let's continue. We get there. Now, it should be mark the modifier there. It should be completely non-what? Toxic. It should be completely non-toxic, and non-irritating to sensitive and inflamed tissue. What is the condition of the inflamed rectal mucosa called? Condition of inflamed rectal mucosa. We said it in this class. Inflamed rectal mucosa. We said it in this class. It's not fine. Pro what? How they are going for? Phone man. Why is it this sensitive? Need a record. Phone man, a woman now. It's too sensitive. This is not skin touch, right? I'm surprised. What's going on? Has it turned to skin touch? All right, let's continue. Now, it should have a melting and a emulsifying property. Now, let me explain. If you don't have a melting property, what will happen? It will melt, okay? Yeah? It will melt, right? Good. Do you know what is emulsification? Even though you still do emulsion, but do you have any idea of what emulsification is? I know. Two words. She has another word. She messed up at the end. Now, to emulsify something, you know that anytime you are cooking a goosey soup, you are forming emulsion. Are you aware? Anytime you are cooking a goosey soup, yes. A goosey soup contains what? Water, oil, and a goosey, right? Good. If you want to know those that don't know how to cook a goosey soup, after cooking a goosey soup, what oil will do what? Oil will float because in a goosey soup you intend to mix the oil and water, whereas the goosey is served as the agent to emulsify them, to mix them together. If we say goosey soup, you won't even see oil. The goosey are low and dirty. You don't see oil. You know, that's the problem. Why am I saying? If you use a sex oil, but a good chef. Hello, are you aware? Hello, listen carefully. Are you aware that a good compounding pharmacist or pharmacy technician should be a good cook, a good chef? Are you aware that? Are you aware if you go to recipe for preparing food, you measure your ingredients. You got from the blue man. Equal seeing how many ml of oil you are using for a particular the same way it's in a compounding room. Each of these will have how many ml, how many kilograms or grams you are adding. If you meet professional chefs, hello, if you meet professional chefs, they measure everything they add. So on your chicken now boy man amale esini. So if when you try manadi excess, you will not be able to form a good emotion. Any question?
The way an Igbo lady will cook a soup, not the same way.
Hello. Are you with me? Hello, are you with me? Egusi soup is egusi soup. Mo Yoruba na-esi mo Hausa na-esi mo if you measure your ingredients well, excuse me, if you measure your ingredients, and use the right step, you will produce a good emotion. I'm not talking about test. I'm not talking about test now. Hello, I'm not talking about test. Test goes beyond when it comes to English lesson. Test goes beyond. A lot of things are involved in test. The test I'm saying now, if you measure wrongly, you see results here. Looking at it wrongly. That they use more quantity of oil doesn't make any difference. Listen carefully. Hello. Gente. That you are using more quantity of oil, I believe the issue. The more is here. Simple. Each one, ijeburu manu ngova. Oburu manu go ya go yengo, ijeburu manu ngova. If put on a competition now. Cooking competition, you see the gusi, Idago. Here I say, near one I like pepper. If I go to competition, we'll see you near pepper Julia, Idago. Hello, I'm not getting. You just cooking competition now, we'll see you near would you pepper. Same and near one pepper. Idago. Because what Nisi, Nisi should be palatable to great number of what? Population. True or false? Even that special, I saw this is for special people. Or you just see any Chinese, you just see Chinese, it's really new of ma, it's even no mechanic, it go. But in a special person, open us to listen. Open us you see for special person. God eat it. I'm not getting. So the point I'm making is this. What you like, if you don't like beach, I'm not talking about even. I'm talking about preparing. A good egusi soup should be an emotion. Because in our foil, all the corner guy in here. Upward say, because if you hey, I don't have all. If you are cool. Hello. Some people are salivating already. Let's continue. Some people are salivating. Don't worry, soon. When an exam, when I jelly be cooking to work. You go office to work. All you now do is sister for that. We see it up here. All right, let's continue. Now, so now they should have emulsifying properties. You know why? You know that we do. Remember we talked about incorporating. Remember we talked about incorporating fast itself alone. We talked about incorporating hydrophilic drug. Remember, right? Yeah. Right. So they should be able to form a good it should have this emulsifying property to accept non-water water soluble, other water soluble. Is it only must all the ingredients? Remember, the base is not the only ingredient. It's not only the base and the API is the ingredient. I hope you know. There are other ingredients. They're true or false, and so them may be hydrophilic. True or false. So you should be able to accommodate them. That's the meaning. Is it clear? So you should have a emulsifying property and melting property. That's what I'm trying to explain. Now let's go to the next property. Hello? The water number should be high. Hello? The water number should be what? High. What is water number? In a nutshell. What's talking about? In a nutshell. That can be what? So water number should be what? Now, the next thing is what? It should be stable in storage. It should be what? Stable in storage. That means it should not change color. It should not change odor or release pattern. We're talking about the pattern with which it releases the active what? Okay? The pattern with which it releases the what? Active ingredient should not what? Change. So if you store it, it should be stable in storage. It should not change color. It should not change odor. Then the pattern with which it releases the active ingredient should not also what? Change. Another point is that an ideal suppository base should be tolerable with, and that means you can produce it through various means. Am I communicating? We still talk about production of what? Suppository. Am I communicating? We should talk about production of what? Suppository. By hand, compression, and what have you. By the time we go there, you understand how to produce what? So it's trying to say that with a suppository base should tolerate manufacturing of suppository through different means. By molding either by hand, compression or what? Machine. You should tolerate it, okay? You know that if you don't tolerate it, if you that the use of it would what? Limited. By the time it passes through a process of molding or any of these things, it may have issues. Am I communicating? So you should tolerate manufacturing of suppository using as a wide range of means. Am I communicating? Types of what? Production processes. You should do what? Permit it. That's the point he's trying to do what? Make here. Now for an idea, coming. Get Nako. I'm going. Hold up, 3 months. Hold up. Is you to be? Now, so listen. Hello. What did he say about acid value? It should be what? Or very low. So, for an ideal suppository, the acid value should be below 0.2. For an ideal suppository base, the acid value should be less than what? And you should not say 0.2. It should be less than what? 0.2. Then the saponification value should range from 200 to what? 245. The saponification value should range from 200 to what? 245. Should be less than 0.2. Then the saponification value should fall between the range of 200 to what? 245. While the iodine value should be less than what? 7. The iodine value should be less than what? 7. Acid value should be less than what? 0.2. Saponification value should range from what? 200 to 245. You know, I don't want to go there. There's what is called SPhI curve. SPhI means what? Solid fat index. That's what is called SPhI curve. SPhI curve. the curve, the SFI curve, for an ideal suppository base, the SFI curve should be very sharp. It should be what? Sharp. It should have a sharp SFI curve. SFI means solid fat index. It should have a sharp SFI curve. SFI means what? Solid fat index. Very sharp. Now, what does it mean? It means that the interval between the melting point and the solidification point should be very what? Small. What does it tell you? It means that the interval between the melting point and the solidification point should be what? Small. What does it tell you? Remember we said something about the difference between the melting point. When the difference between the melting point and the solidification point is 10 degrees and above, you should do what? Refrigerate after what? After what? After pouring in the mold, right? Now, if it's less than 10, you don't need to refrigerate, right? So what does it tell you? That in fact, for an ideal suppository base, you don't need refrigeration. True of us. For an ideal suppository base, you don't need what? Refrigeration. It's not necessary again, because the interval between the what? Melting point and solidification point is what? Small. Am I communicating? It should be what? Very what? Small. This is gotten from interpreting the what? SFI curve, which should be what? Sharp. Am I communicating? The SFI curve should be what? Sharp. As I did even lecture this now, about 5 questions don't appear to my mind. No. 5 questions. Really. Are you with us? You look distracted. Yeah. Are you okay? I go. Don't worry. I will soon end the class. If you look at this, if you go down, you see a pictorial. You see a flow chart. I'm not completing there. This thing contains summary of what we've been saying since. Okay. Summary of the properties of what? Ideal suppository. Melt at body temperature. Hello, I'm just recounting what is there. Please, the class is divided. Please, focus. Melt at what? Body temperature. Dissolve or disperse in body what? Fluids. Release any medicaments readily. Hope you know the difference between hello. Hope you know the difference between medication and medicaments. What is medication and what is medicament? What is medicament? Good. Ask me, what is medication? So good. So medicament can be called drug. Have I told you a story here of how somebody went to London? You will like story, Now, the guy went to UK. The first time he went to UK, the mother packed medicine for him, anti-malaria, analgesic, antipyretic, paracetamol. They packed it for him in case he falls sick there. So Opak said, immediately he got to the airport in London. They'll check you now. So as they were checking the guy, they looked at what he's carrying. They were like, what is in this? What is in this? The guy said, oh, these are my drugs. He said, drugs? They told him. They cornered him one side already. And continue after they went to him again to confirm before they take action. What do you say inside this? He said, these are my drugs. What do you with? Right. You said drugs. So the man opened the nylon. We are full paracetamol, medicine, this thing full. He started laughing. After laughing at it, no. These things are medications, not drugs. I say, these things are medications. This boils down to what we were telling you here. The difference between medication, medicament, medicine, drug. They're not the same thing. You don't carry drug around. It's dangerous. Because, you know why? That's why if they see you with drug, it's a problem. Because you have no business with drug. Medications, medications, drug products, dosage forms are the same thing. You can call it medication, medicine, drug products, dosage forms. These four talk about the same thing. These are ones that have been formulated for you to use for treatment of particular ailments. But drugs or medicaments or active ingredients is that one they take and from there they take smaller particular quantity and add other excipients to produce what you take. Can you imagine yourself going to the market to buy a raw egusi, and go home and be eating egusi? And be eating it. It's just the same thing. It's for you to see what people do in drug abuse. These things, they have particular quantity that should enter the system. They will go and buy cocaine and be injecting it in their system. Some will be no measurement, nothing. They will just be. It's dangerous. That's why the government is against it. It's destroying our youth. Ulumili is a gulia. Ulumili is what? Matter what? AG, this is a drug used to produce medications. Other things. They will now go. Well, a street boy, you know, that's sitting with home. And when you home, Elesianya, on a buyumi and do you know the damage you are causing? You that think that you are a child of God. I'm sorry to say this, man. You that could say Christians. They are killing people. Most of them are into the drug business. It's true. They see it as nothing. But they are killing, wasting the lives of our youth. They will go and import it. You know, you are only to sell. Imagine how they distributed it. Imagine. A poor innocent boy on the street, because of he fall a victim of associating with the wrong friends. A man is supposed to eat. He put it, he said, it's nonsense. You may not see what you are doing to the youth, but God is seeing it. You may be a pastor. I don't send. Of course, is it true that you heard of pastors into it? Yeah. So you say this is a new thing. It's not, but God is seeing all these things. So the point I'm making is this. It's dangerous. That's why they cornered my guy. Say Alpha. Or Stephen, I said no. He was corrected. And this is actually what? Medication. Open now one fountain like a para from them. On I go. So because the government don't joke with it. Get a percentage of people you see on the streets now, like if you know their history, great percentage for real. Greater percentage we have but they won't tell you. You won't know. Some will say no, people. Some of them won't tell you. So some of them are doing it secretly. You won't know. Are you aware? One of the people as no one empire village, Maria. Every deliverance. So let me not deviate. Now, so that's what we mean by what? Medicaments. So they are not what? The same thing. So release of any what? Medicament what? Readily. So you release medicament from a medication. Are you? Good. Now, it's going to do what? Retain its shape when what? handled. Obulo akpanya koyasa. So it should take its what shape when what handled. It should be non-toxic and non-irritant to mucous membrane. I mean, I see how the thing is sweetening you now because we have explained it, right? Yes. So do you think you need to cram it again? No. Good. It should be stable on what? Storage. It should be compatible with all medicaments. It should be compatible, right? Yes. In fact, the best of the best should be compatible with any medicament you put inside it. True or false? Yes. It should be stable above its what? Melting point. It should be stable above what? Its melting point. It should be easily moldable. True or false? If it's not moldable, can you pour it in the mold? No. It should not adhere to the mold. Remember we said that an idea doesn't need what? Lubricant, right? So it should be able to retract and what? Not adhere to the what? Suppository mold. So this is the end of what? Properties of an ideal suppository what? Base. Remember I mentioned in this class types of what? Suppository what? Base. Now, but before I go to that, there's something I want to talk about. That before, in fact, that thing should have come before we entered what basis, but I was so moved by trying to dismantle the what, not even idea, the what is it called again? Those acid value, blah blah blah. What is it called again? The what? Specification, right? Yes. Yeah, but for a suppository should contain each of these ingredients. In formulation of a suppository, it should contain these ingredients. Number one is what? Basis. Number one is what? Basis. Even though all may not contain everything, hope you know. But at least these are ingredients that you should expect. Apart from the active ingredients, these are the excipients. Apart from the drug itself, we should have what? Basis. Number two, antioxidants. Emulsifying what? Agents. Are we together? Hardening what? Agents. Preservatives. Thickening agents. Plasticizer. All of them must not be in one suppository. Hope you know. If you depend on the suppository, you are what? Are you aware that also the nature of the base can determine the one to add there? True or false? How the base look like? The component of the base. Another thing that the base contains may determine which of these to add. True or false? A base that is highly, you remember that an base should have a emulsifying property. A base that has a very good emulsifying property. Do you think you need an emulsifying agent? Is it clear now? So each of these, one you add, depend on what is already present in the what? In the what base. That will inform the one to do what? Extra one to do what? Add. Now, let's talk about types of suppository bases. I think I've mentioned this before now, right? I told you fatty bases, hydrophilic bases, and what? Water dispersible bases. Does water dispersible base dissolve? No. What do they do? Disperse. Good. What hydrophilic base? Do they melt, dissolve, or disperse? Dissolve. Fatty base? Do they melt, dissolve? 9 questions can come out from this 13 quicker. Are you aware? Yes. Now let's look at fatty bases. I mentioned theobroma oil here, right? Yes, sir. What's the name of theobroma oil? I think you have to go to something like that. Theobroma plants or something, right? Good. So, theobroma oil. Theobroma oil is the most widely used suppository base. Is the most widely used suppository what? Base. because it satisfies many requirements. At least greater percentage of the requirements for what? An ideal what? Suppository. Because it satisfies many of the, at least greater percentage of the words require, although it has its own disadvantage, I hope you know, but at least it go, to some extent, it satisfies many requirements for an ideal what? Suppository. Is non-reactive. What is, have you ever term bland? Bland. Victoria, check the meaning of bland for us. Bland. L-B-L-A-N-D. Fast. Tasteless. Just check it. Just check it. Go line. Just check it. Bland. Cocoa butter has chocolate taste. Bland is what? Yes, it's what? Mad. Taste. Is it taste?
Not having a strong taste or character or showing any
Not having what?
A strong taste or character or not showing any interest or
Read something else. Check an meaning of bland. Bam. Good. Mad. Why? Mad, right? What else? Soft. Gentle. Smooth. And what? Swift. Spare. It's oil now. It's oil. It's oil. I hope you know. Yeah. It's non-reactive. It's what? It melts at body what? Temperature. It smells and tastes like what? Chocolate.
Then why do we sell milk?
Milk.
Doesn't that it
Yes. Don't worry, by the time we go to the temperature, you understand why it will still melt. Is it clear? It's soft, it's gentle, it's smooth. Now, it's what? I said that it starts the test of what? It tastes and smells like what? Chocolate. Have you ever touched? Have you had a hold of chocolate? How does it look? How does it feel? Oh. Chocolate itself. Go. Now let's continue. So, it's a triglyceride. Huh? We have entered 40 days, and I singled out cocoa butter, and as an example of 30 days. I'm talking about cocoa butter now, or tobacco oil, as an example of what? 30 days, right? Of course, you don't need to start defining 30 days again. We mentioned it up several times here, right? What you understand by what 30 days, right? That's why I just went straight to the examples and talk about the widely used one. Okay. So that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that if it does this thing, it qualifies it to. That doesn't mean to qualify it to. I'm not competing. That this one share the same this physical this thing doesn't mean that it qualified it to be used. Is it clear? It's just a shared property. Now, so we are talking about the features of what? I said it's a triglyceride, right? Then it's yellowish white, right? Yellowish white, solid, brittle what? Fat. Yellowish, solid, and brittle fat. Someone asked about why does it melt? Have you seen something here? The melting range is between what? 30 to 35 degrees Celsius. Am I getting? Do you think it's close to the right temperature? Yes. 30 to what? 35 degrees Celsius. It has iodine value between what? 34 to what? 30. 34 to minus 38. Our romantic lady. Between 34 to what? 38. Then the acid value is not higher than, it's less than what? 4. Am I communicating? Remember I told you something. That it has what is disadvantage. I hope you know. Yes. Good. But at least it's widely used. Are we tired? Yeah. Didn't ask what time? And you're tired. Just 1 hour later, you're tired. We started by what time? 7 what? I mean when we started. All right, let's continue. I said that the acid value is no higher than what? 4. Good. Because it easily becomes what? And becomes what? Rancid. Am I communicating? Yes. Of course, thank God you now answer because you now understand what acid value is, right? Good. Clap for yourself. Wow. Nice one. So you must be stored in a cool, dry what? From light. Good. So advantage is because of the melting rate, which is 35 to 35. 30. They can easily melt in the body, right? They can readily melt on warming and rapidly settle on what? Cooling. Rapidly settle on what? Cooling, right? So do they need freezing? No. Do they need freezing? No. They are miscible with many other what? Ingredients. And they are non-what? No. Look at their disadvantages. Polymorphism. Hey, I have this. So remember all this polymorphism. Remember I said something about they should have no, ideas suppository base should have no metastable what? Forms. Right? So remember with the Baba in polymorphism. It has different forms. You can change from one form to another one. So that is a disadvantage of what? Of what? Tubuma oil as a base. Polymorphism is a problem with this. It can adhere to the what? Mold. It has low softening what? Point. In fact, anyone that has, because of these polymorphic states, a lot of things can go wrong. True of us. A lot of things can do what? Go wrong. It can have low softening point. Even there could be melting point what? Reduction. Because of this polymorphic, there could be melting point what? Reduction. So you cannot predict the melting point. It can change. It can reduce. True of us. Because of this metastable what? Forms it possesses. It can also deteriorate during storage because you don't know the form that it has come to. Are you with me? So you can easily do what? Deteriorate during what? Storage. Pour water what? Absorbing capacity. Pour water what? It can easily leak from the what? Body. It can easily leak from the what? Body. These are the disadvantages of theobroma oil or cocoa butter as a what? Suppository what? Base. Now, if you look down, you see where they talk about polymorphism. They're trying to explain polymorphism. What is polymorphism? Polymorphism is nothing but existing different what? Different what? Crystalline what? Form. Different what? Different what? Can you differentiate between crystalline substance and amorphous substance? Is sugar crystalline or amorphous? Is powder? Is the powder in it? Is it amorphous or crystalline? Sodium chloride, is it crystalline or amorphous? Sodium chloride. Apple powdered apple. Dry for apple. Is it amorphous or crystalline? It's amorphous. Okay, let's continue. Now, I say that property of existing in different crystalline what? Forms. So, polymorphism in cocoa butter is observed due to high we are talking about what causes that polymorphism in cocoa butter. That's what we want to talk about. What causes that polymorphism? Polymorphism in cocoa butter is caused by what? High proportion of what? Unsaturated triglyceride. That's what causes polymorphism in what? Theobroma what? Oil. Due to the presence of what? High proportion of what? Triglyceride. High proportion of what? Triglyceride in cocoa butter causes this what? Polymorphism. So is cocoa butter natural or synthetic? Natural. Good. What time? 8 what? 8:55. Ako 9:10 na yabasa. Ma tell you 2 hours. If what is remaining for us is this. Hello? What is remaining for us is this. A very important aspect of this is preparation of what? Suppository. Preparation of what? Suppository. This description of properties of bases, as in the other bases, am I getting? Then suppository processes in preparation of what? Suppository. Then the problem encountered. I think so. The problems, yes, in formulating what? Suppository. I'm pointing out where what is remaining in this topic. What's remaining in this topic is what? Production of what? Suppository. Processes involved. And the problems encountered in what? Suppository. Then, after that, we just talk about the lubricant used in what? Preparing what? Suppository. Then we talk about evaluation. Remember I told you that each of these dosage forms you prepare, you should be able to evaluate it to ensure that it contains what you are what? Looking for. Am I communicating? Then, after that, the next thing is what? The packaging, right? Of suppository. I want to share this. We have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, yeah? So we have, Thursday, Friday, and we have 3 days. I want to keep this calculation. When you come in FAMCAC, we do it in FAMCAC. Is the topic in FAMCAC. So I want to keep it. So in FAMCAC, we treat it well in FAMCAC, okay? Even though, say, I know I don't feel from one exam. But I want to keep it for now. In FAMCAC, we do it. And they said that when we go to FAMCAC, we will not do it again in FAMCAC. I can't remember we didn't do it in FAMCAC. Because we did it in SPhT. But you know what? I will skip it, then do it with you in FAMCAC. The same way, I think I skipped it in. Okay, I wasn't the one that taught them one first, not second year, but we did it in FAMCAC. So I want to skip it because now it may only make sense to people now. You couldn't never talk You don't have friends. What's the problem? You don't have friends. Not only today, I notice it. You just don't have friends. Always friends. Friends. What's going on? You're not there. What I'm saying is not just today. It's what I've noticed. Please, though, you should not come with this stress to FAMCAC. Don't come to the year with this. You must be ready for the year.